Welcome back to CCT Series 1. We're going to be heading into the action here for the final game of the evening. Charlie, it is Nexus versus Ruby. It's going to be a banger. It's a 2-0 match. But look, before we get into it, how are you feeling about today's game?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited for sort of this part of the group stage. We're really starting to come towards the end of it, starting to get to see which teams are advancing. And between both of these sides, Fred, I'll be honest, I'm impressed that they're in this spot. You know, I think these are teams that we've seen sort of the last couple of years or so struggle a little bit to make it out of the group stage. And I think the fact that one of these two teams today is going to be successful, is going to grab themselves that playoff spot, and hopefully just this is the start of their journey here. I'm honestly just here for the ride and enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong. I feel like there's definitely quality on both of these two teams, but would it be out of the ordinary to say that they should be 2-0? You know, I don't think it would be. I think you look at both these teams, you look at their rankings, you know, in comparison to some of the other teams in the Swiss stage, and you know they're on the kind of the higher end. But look, I think both Ruby and Nexus have had exceptional Swiss stages, and I think deserved of their spots. Not to say it's the easiest games that they've said, you know, games that they've seen. You look at Nexus. Okay, yeah, they're 2-0. They've only got a round difference of 7. Just goes to show how close their matches really have been. But look, Charlie, I think we're going to get into it. Why don't we have a little bit of a look at the rosters and we can determine which team we think may be having the goods today. But for Nexus, I feel like this is a Nexus side that we've known for quite some time, or at least for the core. Obviously, BTN, I want to say, is the longest standing member of any team on HLTV now.
I think Rain is still
there, but it's fine. Symbol will bring someone else into the phase team. Rain will get dropped.
Yeah, we have to say this is almost 9 years he's been on this roster. This is insane. Yeah, certainly someone you see Nexus, always sort of the first name that comes to mind. But yeah, in general, look, this team, like you mentioned, the core, they've been together for almost 2 years now. Obviously, Rager and BTN, about 3.5 of these two have been playing for with one another. Sound came in a few months ago. It felt like he was a positive change, but still not exactly what Nexus necessarily wanted. Then we saw Laux as well a little bit more recently. I think he's a really key addition to this team. I think he's, on paper, the most obvious signing that they could have made. They really do need some level of firepower that Laux brings. And it feels like this is the most cutting, sort of open and shut case in terms of who you need to sort of sign for your team. And I think it's made a really big difference. Sort of talking about a little bit here in Series 1, the teams that they face, they haven't just sort of played kind of middle-of-the-road teams that we're sort of expecting not the greatest things from. Taking down Passion UA and Cybershock is a really successful sign, in my opinion. These are two teams that, honestly, Passion UA probably have a lot higher heights than where they're playing at right now. They've got a great team on paper. Cybershock as well, we've obviously watched them for a little while. They sort of became this team that sort of just came to these events to get knocked out, but now, these last sort of 6 months or so, they've been pushing to playoffs, to these semis, to positions like this. And Nexus taking them both down. Sure, it's close games, but they're also against some very scary teams. I'm loving what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think this, you touched upon the roster move of Laux. I think ever since he was no longer on Falcons, I was waiting for this roster move. I think everyone was, right? You think of kind of Romanian teams, you think of Nexus. And obviously, I think we've known about Laux's talent for quite some time. I'm so happy that he's here now on a kind of a full Romanian side, and I guess, you know, hopefully this can be the push that Nexus need. But on the flip side, though, we can move to Ruby, and I think Ruby's an interesting one when we talk about rosters, because there has been a little bit of a question as to not who their fifth is, but why it's not been confirmed on HLTV, because we've seen a lot from Easy here now in this roster, and I think the expectation is that Easy is here to stay. But when you look at this roster overall, I think there is a lot of big names. There's a lot of important players. And a vast majority of the time, I look to KD. KD has some incredible stats for kind of a player that I guess we aren't really expecting too much from this Ruby roster. You know, the fact that he is putting up a 1.19 rating is ridiculous. And when you look at some of the teams they face in that kind of last 2-3 months, that's against Sangal, Zero Tenacity, Partisan, Sinners, you know, Navi Jr., so many teams. You just have to look through the matches that they played in the last couple of months, and you realize how quickly that not only KD is putting up these great results, it's against these exceptional teams as well. So I think KD's got to be the highlight of this team, right?
Yeah, I really do think he has to be. I think, yeah, there's certainly a lot of individuals that can step up alongside him. Swalio has been someone that, sort of, when we looked at him on Ruby a little while ago, and on VP Prodigy about a year, 2 years ago, yeah, this was a guy that I think had a really bright future, and I think we're starting to see that being formed. Still very young. There's a lot of very young pieces on this Ruby side. There's still a team that definitely feel like there's a few growing pains at time, but on paper, this certainly could be something like a lot of those other teams we see, but they're sort of stacked to the rim with some of these younger talents. It just feels like they're not quite there yet. I am very interested in terms of how Ruby are going to try to play to silence Launch, because don't get me wrong, there are other players like Zello who we know that the heights that he can achieve, but it feels like Nexus have just elevated their performance since this signing, and I do think I'm a little bit concerned if Ruby don't hit the ground running. Maybe if Launch does, that might just be a little bit too much to overwhelm them.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think there's many kind of contingency plans and many factors that are going to affect the result of this game, and one of them, obviously the biggest, being the vetoes, right? So we'll move to that, and I think when you look at these vetoes, you're quite interested because I don't really know where Nexus go, and it seems as though Nexus have gone for the Anubis. Obviously, it's one of their most played, just behind, I want to say, Nuke, but the problem is Nexus, they pick Anubis. Statistically, it's Ruby's strongest map. 12 maps played, 75% win rate. Ancient as the second, and I'd be very worried if I was Nexus, obviously, for that Ancient, because very limited games played on it, very poor win rate. So I'm thinking second map. I think that's somewhat locked in. Obviously, the stats can sometimes be a little bit, I guess, discerning and not as true as we'd hope. But I don't really know where Nexus go for the final 3 maps either, because it's either Mirage, which they just got spanked 13-3 on by Cyberstroke. They either go Dust, which is Ruby's probably best map, or they go for Nuke, which is also such a strong point. So I think when we look at the maps, when we look at the vetoes, we're always going to be favoring Ruby. And I feel very, very worried to anyone who thinks that Nexus are to take this after seeing the vetoes.
Yeah, I actually don't think the vetoes are as one-sided as they kind of look. I feel like a lot of these games have been sort of taken statistically without this full 5, and I think that changes so much. You look at Anubis, it sounds pretty dire, but when you sort of look at it in the context of they've won 7 out of their last 9 games, ever since they had the addition of Launch on their team, they've had sort of 1 pretty dominant loss, but other than that, when he first came in, they had 3 back-to-back insanely close losses against some really capable teams, BetBoom being one of them, and then sort of after that, it felt like they really hit their stride on this map, and it felt like we started to see the actual Nexus in terms of what we can expect from them. Sort of similar things with Ancient. I don't think they're necessarily as good, but a lot of their games are really, really close. They do end up losing. And it does feel like this has been when we've had this full 5 in place. And it feels like, look, it's only been a month. We're waiting to see what these guys can actually do. But I definitely don't think the vetoes are as dire as they look on paper.
Yeah, but look, into the server we go. Obviously, Anubis to kick things off, the selection of Nexus. So we are going to be seeing Ruby, in fact, choose to start on that CT side, which... a little bit of an odd one. A lot of the time when I see this, it's because, personally, I feel like teams, usually when they choose to start on the CT side of Anubis, it's because they're so used to starting there, because this is usually their pick. So this is where, for Ruby, I'm feeling confident already. The double Julie's in play on Sawalio and Hazanator, and there's a flash on KD, ready and waiting for this A main play. Ruby. Finally, it comes through, but the kill's not seen. All on easy here. He's tapping away, but the struggle from Ruby is seen. Nexus, they dismantle that A setup with ease, and it's left on Fozil and Hazanator to try and stabilize this round. But even with the kill in middle, it's a 2-on-4. Launux seemingly caught off guard, but all on Hazanator. Information gained, and Nexus will take this pistol round quite comfortably.
Hazanator. Just looking for a few more picks, see if he can find any kills, but Nexus are the ones to be successful. Nexus are the ones to win that pistol round. It is the T side. The setup looks good for Ruby, but still, a couple of missed shots, a little late on the flash, the lack of info, it all favours Nexus there. They come out on top, and it is going to be the force buy back from Ruby. Not ready to let this one slip through their fingers just yet.
No, definitely not. I don't mind the idea of it. But I think for Ruby, you start on the CT side, you think you have a great idea and awareness and kind of understanding of to what Nexus want to achieve. And to be honest, the call was excellent, yet didn't really pan out, did it?
No, not majorly. Yeah, it looked like a nice idea, but the execution just wasn't quite there. Potentially some B main aggression might look to come through from Ruby, but Sound ready for this.
Molly there into connector from Launux. Ooh, nice find from Sound. Hazinator falling, and now the realization that it is this force. Launux just going to back away. Doesn't want anything to do with the MP9s there in E-Box. Definitely the right decision. I think disengaging, grouping up, and having this kind of structured attack. 3 through A main, 2 through, obviously, middle. Resonating with their pistol strategy. Sawalio tucked away here towards A main. He goes wide, but Launix jumping across confined. And Ruby just going to have to back away and save. So Nexus, they kick things off very nicely here, going 2-0 up. It's weird because when I'm looking at this kind of this match on paper, I'm thinking, well, I think Ruby win the vetoes just based on stats, but I think Nexus have got the firepower, which is kind of what leads for this game to have the excitement that we've been kind of portraying.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one to sort of dissect a little bit. Like I said, I do think the stats are slightly skewed in terms of just what to expect from Nexus, because you kind of got 2 months that have been taken into account that aren't with this full 5. I understand what you mean in terms of firepower. I certainly think Ruby, if they can get all their players warmed up, they can match so many teams out there in terms of that. But there's a lot of things that I think are going to come down to what we see on the server. And that, for me, is what makes it exciting, because it does feel like at times it could be a bit of a coin flip in terms of what version of these teams do you get to see.
Yeah, I think it's always tough as well with kind of, I guess, the tier 2 CS, but it's seen throughout all levels of CS. Consistency, right? And I think that's, we can talk about this Nexus side and the heights they're going to hit, because we know how impactful Zello can be. We know what Launix can bring to the table, the kind of leadership and stability that BTN has. But if they're not fragging, if they're not there, then all of these pieces that we've so kind of kindly and I guess promised to show, if they're not here, then what was the point of it? Obviously, it's all conditioned on how they play on the day. But Launix, nice double there. Raga can fight with a rifle as well. Sets up excellently for this continuation. A third found with the MAC-10. So much money going to be made. And I wonder, are we going to see a fast play in the next? Are we going to see kind of a pop into E-Box? Maybe a fast A, because there's still 2 MAC-10s in play. And there will still be 2 MAC-10s in play. Is Launix still surviving? 4 kills in that one with the MAC-10. Look at the money. He's above 10k after 4 rounds. Or after 3, in fact.
Yeah, another couple of kills here. Fighting up against some of the players who did have those saved weapons from that force fight as well. And still, Nexus, another round that they come out of it. 5 survivors, and money is starting to grow. Still got a couple of these SMGs in play, so I actually do think it kind of tends and leans itself towards Anubis a little bit, with sort of taking some of their space early, like this towards A main, and the MAC-10 bests the rifle of Sawalio.
There are 2 MAC-10s in the last. Why is there still 3 players without head armor? Sawalio is the first to face that kind of that fate, and I think Easy and Hazinator might feel the menace of that MAC-10 later. 8 kills already for Launix, already providing what we so heavily hoped for, and kind of what Nexus were hoping for with this pickup.
Yeah, I think this is it for Nexus. I think there's not a huge amount of talent in regions like Romania that you can sort of pick and choose from. You can't be picky, but it feels like this is the best that they can really look to get. And this feels like we've got to see the final form of Nexus now. Otherwise, you do fear for what are the heights of this team going to be. But I'm positive. I'm very optimistic. Bomb down, and Ruby just going to be forced to scurry away. Look to save these weapons into the next. the CT side start hasn't exactly yielded the success that they might be hoping for, as they're going to find themselves 4-0 down. But I suppose the positives with starting on that CT side is all you need is sort of find a bit of form, and you can bring yourself straight into the game, as we're not expecting a crazy amount of rounds on the CT side, but certainly a decent amount.
No, I don't think we are. I think we do have to accept that Ruby, if they get themselves, what? Are we going to say 3 is the bare minimum on CT Anubis? Or is that even too far? I mean,
3, I can't. 3, I do kind of think is...
You need the pistol as well.
Yeah, there's a point that you do need a lot to go your way in the second half initially for me to be pretty confident about that. I'd say I want to at least see 4 on that CT side. I think that's more than doable.
Yeah, look, it's certainly achievable, but it just means they've got to win, half the remaining rounds, and that's why they are implementing this tactical pause. That's what I was saying, as in I like it from Ruby. So far, what they're showing in the game plan, maybe not looking perfect, but I think the fact they're wanting to evaluate issues so early on is always such a positive sign, not only for kind of maybe what the rest of the CT side might bode for them, but also kind of the intelligence and I guess maturity of this side, because I think something that we haven't really noted and something that does need to be brought to light is this Ruby squad is quite a young team, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Look, no one on this team is exactly the finished product. No. There's a lot of potential on this team, but a lot of it is going to be us waiting to fully see what they can achieve.
Yeah, certainly. Easy. Searching for that early opener towards middle. Unable to connect, which is a bit unfortunate because it's so vital. For a game and a map that's so conditioned on information and taking space on the CT side as Anubis, getting an early pick like that towards middle just makes life so much easier. I've got to say, what are we thinking about Easy on this Ruby side? Obviously, we know that some AWPers have really struggled with the kind of the change with CS2, and I guess you can use that with a slight argument, but I think Easy, when you look at the numbers and you look at the matches that Ruby are winning, Easy is still having a bit of a tough time.
Yeah, I mean, Easy right now is pretty up and down in terms of performances. I definitely do think a lot of AWPers are in a similar spot to him, where it does feel like life is just a bit tougher at moments.
Oh, sorry, what have we just watched? Sound just shifted for a smoke with 2 players back turned.
It's crazy that seeing that I didn't even get caught off by it, because it does feel like it's just Nexus things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is pretty madness. The sound taking a lot of initiative. The thing that I find most mind-blowing is right now you may as well just have 3 players on Nexus, and you'll have almost the same outcome in terms of results. Zello has just been here in the server. He's logged on.
He's just vibing.
Not done much more since then.
He doesn't have the AWP in hand. It's not his job.
And it's going to remain the fact that somehow we have 3 players in this server with 0 kills, and 2 of them are on the winning side who are 5-0 up.
Yeah, look. We get it. BTN's not high fragging. Technically, does Zello have an infinite KD right now?
I think he's got 0 KD, doesn't he?
Or technically a 1 KD. Because whatever divided by itself is still 1, right?
0 divided by 0 is 0.
Is it though?
Make something out of nothing.
Why don't we leave it up to the mathematicians?
We'll leave it up to the viewers. Leave it up to Zello, maybe. He'll probably certainly take a better KD, but a bit of a tactical pause on our hands here. Maybe Zello's realised his mouse isn't plugged in or something.
Apparently it's undefined.
There you go, undefined KD.
That does, yeah. It's either so good or bad, we don't know what it is. It's undefined.
I mean, this is great. The thing that's concerning me a little bit so far about Ruby is, don't get me wrong, CT-sided Anubis can be very punishing in terms of playing aggressively. You can't necessarily do that in the same way you can on other maps. It's not something where, for example, you fight towards mid and Mirage and you can stay fighting that the whole round if you like. It's a map that you do kind of just need to keep the space you have. Look to keep E-Box. Look to keep sort of that back portion of middle. Try to keep A main. But that doesn't mean you can't get aggressive. How it tends to be is you go for aggressive picks and then then go back. You're not taking any control necessarily. But yet to see Ruby really look to fight anything aggressively yet. It feels like they're just allowing Nexus to have free range of the map, and that's where these sort of 3 stars that we're witnessing right now are thriving.
Yeah, and I think as well, the importance as well is not only a Ruby not going for those opening picks, where's the structured aggression? Where's the kind of the late round 3 players shifting into middle? Where's that?
Chance here to punish. Peek from E-Box works out, and Hasanate is actually able to escape the bullets of Raga. So advantage here for Ruby. Still, weaker weapons are the ones with it. Only one weapon, or one real weapon, I suppose, is in the hands of Sawalio, but Sound strikes towards B. And Hasanate is getting taken down here. The push through from the Temple. Easy's being able to get in front of the smoke, and is on the bomb site. Sound in a 1 versus 1 that he doesn't look too aware of.
And nice shot from Easy, that. Important. Oh, that kills forced Sawalio forward. BTN can find him for free. There's an open bomb site here. Oh, it's all timing. BTN will go down to Sawalio. Ruby put up their first round. But remember, I said, where's the structured aggression? We saw the kind of the push out of A main partnership with the swing out of E-Box. It kept Nexus completely kind of frazzled, completely questioning as to what was happening, and Ruby, they pounced on it, and that's what gained them the kills. That's what put them into that 2v2. It's excellent from Easy to kind of push out while that smoke's landing, because not only is Sound completely unaware of it, you know, why would he be? There's just been a fight as well towards E-Box. He's just taken that kill. If there's going to be a rotation, or a late one, they'd probably already be in E-Box.
I mean, that's the worrying thing for me is, don't get me wrong, it's an important round for Ruby. They desperately needed it. Nexus did look pretty caught off at times, especially with how Longs fell. Just no one expecting that anyone could peek from D-Box. But also, we do have to say that it is weaker weapons. You do tend to see a few more risks being taken when there are weaker weapons in the hand. Hopefully, Ruby are going to do the similar thing. I thought KD got a glimpse of Longs here, but perhaps not.
That is devastating. I was right there with you. I was under the impression that Katie had that info. He had that intel, but sadly not. Longs is 11-1.
1 HP still finding impact. I mean, don't get me wrong, a bit lucky that KD's overlooked one position. Does find the success from it, and Nexus now look to split towards A. Hasanate, the rotating player, will be able to find the first. No instant trade through from Raga, but that's because 2 players have emerged out in camera now. Just a bullet, still in the fake, still in the presence, and BTN not going to get a free kill in that all game. 2 versus 3, Util gets dumped down, and Ruby, they've got themselves a choice, and I think it's a pretty easy choice, if I'm being honest. The bomb's down, you've got a little bit of Util to fight with, but no defuse kit. You've got to find a kill almost instantly, but with the smoke dropped, I think this has to be the save. I don't see what choice you have.
Yeah, I think it's really tough. And I think the biggest problem of this is when you're in this 2 versus 3, there's only one prong to this. If Fuzzle doesn't get this kill, or he has gotten it silently, but there's been the step from Easy. They're aware that they're both here.
I mean, look at the time. The round's already done.
Kill?
It's great that they find this kill. There's no time for the defuse. There's no time for anything. Easy is just on this bomb site waiting to get exploded with the bomb. Raga doesn't survive. Not far off probably being able to make it out that radius. But that's the issue with the usual that Nexus still had. With the lack of defuse kit that Ruby had, with the lack of time, they had 20 seconds by the time that smoke faded towards heaven. They had 10 seconds to find 3 kills and get on that bomb.
Yeah, look at that, and that's the problem. Not only are they so slow on that retake, but they didn't have the kit for it. They didn't really have the use. I really just don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. I think they had decent usual, to be fair. Got a molly, a smoke, and a flash. When you've got 20 seconds, you've got to clear out all this space. You don't basically, you have 10 seconds to get on the bomb. You don't exactly have a lot of time to start throwing util, lining up nades. You kind of do need to just push in, hope you get the kills. They did manage to find them, but look, a little too late. 6-1 though, still chances for Ruby here. Just can't let Nexus run away with things too much.
Yeah, I think the problem is not only is Launix playing so well, but Raga's having a really good game. So is Sound, and I think a lot of the time you looked at this Nexus side in the past, and a vast majority of the time it was Zello. It was always Zello. Yeah, now it just goes to show the level of quality that's alongside him. Sawalio, is the one to take the damage. KD the one to get the kill. The problem is, you can see how worried they are about middle. Hazenator preemptively watching here, ready for a late lurk. Obviously, there's not one coming, but I don't mind this double A, triple B. It's a strong setup. It's just all about how much time Lounix is given here towards E-Box. Because if the players outside B main just show enough presence to keep the E-Box players contained, this is where things could go so wrong. Hazenator, nade landing. Fozzel can find Lounix, but why is Lounix the one to go first? It makes no sense. And KD can rotate in and get a double. 1 versus 5 for Zello. Gets the second. There's 13 seconds on the clock here. Tries to get the reload off. He fakes it out. Tapping away now. He spots out Sawalio. Little does he know Sawalio was low HP. There was a real argument there for a second. He's made that round financially so damaging as well.
Yeah, Zello finally puts pen to paper, gets his first kill, and triples that one as well. Causing a lot of damage, certainly keeping Ruby's finances as bare bones as possible. Have to say, though, that round was dead in the water before the exec even came through. Ruby double rotated before any util was thrown. KD was in CT with his teammate not far behind him as the util started to come through. So it wasn't exactly like, oh, wow, look how quick these rotations were. No, they were already there. Nexus had no presence across the map. We saw how concerned Ruby were about mid, but with no one looking about to exploit that position, Nexus had a really one-dimensional hit there. I mean, you're trying to attack a bomb site disadvantage while you also have 5 players defending. You never have a chance.
Late reactions there from BT, and he shifted through the smoke. He heard the Zawalio.
That feels like all of my fights there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm an A main player. I've had that fight before with those exact shots.
But the issue is, I would be calling. He's low HP.
1 HP, 1 HP.
Yeah, has to be low HP. Like, I've fired so many bullets. Has to be. Somehow not a single bullet connecting. Long finds his second kill of the round. Tapping away at KD.
It's just too good.
Aware that there's one more there. Long's a little bit too confident in his own abilities, perhaps. Going for the one tap rather than just taking a reload. But putting Sound in this 1 versus 1.
If Fozzel's got a smoke, a Molotov, and a kit, Sound's still just holding from pillar. Fozzel will find an important round again for Ruby. With no bomb plant as well. A struggle for an investment here from Nexus. They might have to eco. Does look, in fact, like they'll be giving this one a go.
I mean, good argument for it. They're going to be aware Ruby's money is in a really dire spot.
Yeah, look, both teams' finances are very, very difficult. Honestly, though, Raga, BTN, Mac 10s, Lounix, Sound, Zello, AKs. Just go for a fast day.
Doesn't sound too bad, though, does it, in terms of the actual equipment, in terms of what we've seen these Mac 10s do already?
Yeah, exactly. And that is what they're going to be going for. Zello can send the utility. They have enough util for an A play. They've got the 2 smokes for Camera and Heaven. They've got the molly for bricks. And they've got themselves 3 flashes as well. That is all they need. Raga and BTN to be sent in first, and then the cleanup crew. And I say crew. Lounix is the, I guess the headliner. Because 14-4. A very impressive game.
Yeah, it's going to have probably quite a lot of weight on what counter utility we do see. Luckily, it is Sawalio playing towards A. He does have a full set of utility, and there's quite a few players here at B.
Hazenator just playing tucked. Surely an overlooked angle. It's the last place you check, especially with Fozzel just sending out this utility. Nice HE grenade. Problem is now Hazenator. He's the one with util, and he's questioning, well, I don't want to stay tucked here. Reposition now to mid. KD with just an MP9. Raga looks as though he wants to go through. KD will look to back away. Oh, is he able to get back to camera? He is. HE grenade timing looks perfect again. 2 nice HE grenades. Just going to soften these players up massively. BTN and Sound can be eliminated.
KD's a bit awkward. He just looked away, so these players can emerge from camera without too much restriction. There is one in heaven. Has been spotted now by Raga. Still overlooking the position of KD, but just long enough for the trades to be able to come through. Choosing one player here. Rotations are quick. BTN just defending with the tech, but spamming through, peppering down easy.
The The problem is these weapons, they don't feel safe to be retrieved. If Zello goes down, there's a big problem. Zello is the remaining utility, and he will be found. And now we've got a great retake attempt on our hand. 2 smokes. There's a flashbang coming through now. BTN. It's just how long they overlook his position. He's still tucked away. Fuzzy will find those Sound. An important kill, but the swinging Ragga, he can get it, and Sound just needs to delay now. Easy. That's the 10-second timer, but he has retrieved the kit. Sound, it's all about how long he can wait, and he will find him anyway. A lovely triple in this round for Sound. The money broken here for the side of Ruby. And what did they do? Surely it's just an eco. The only one who won't be able to invest in the next is Easy. And in fact, it's because he bought a deagle he can buy in the next. So, comfortable eco here from Ruby. Nexus should find themselves 8. And Ruby, they've got one more full buy to prove it in the next.
Yeah, great decision from them forced from Nexus, though. They set their sights towards B, but they were disciplined and not sort of forcing their hand to throw in a utility early. Good call to back away. Looks to go towards mid. Timing's a bit unfortunate from Katie, but overlooking the mid angle allows Nexus to make their way out. Allows them to emerge onto the A bomb site unscathed, no initial contact. And then as soon as they get the information where the players are, the trading's on point. Couple of kills from the MAC-10. It feels like we've seen this be the specialist weapon of launch right now.
I'll be honest, I love the MAC-10.
I think he's loving it as well.
Yeah.
So many kills found from this weapon.
I think the best thing about seeing these MAC-10s, whether it's a full buy, whether it's kind of a half buy, whether you've got 10k in the bank, is it kind of conditions Ruby to either we've got to play very, very kind of distant if we want to, you know, be able to not have head armor, or we're going to have to spend an extra $350 every single round.
They does the job. Lonks flies across our screen. Forces Deagle connects on Daraga and made this one a costly round. Can retrieve a weapon as well. Does go down to the bomb as the boost comes through. Allowed Sound to get a nice angle into middle. Just push it up, not allowing that weapon to be saved. I think it's actually a little, but final round of the half. Nexus, Secure. I do think I want to see Ruby with 4. Definitely do agree. I don't think 3 is the end of the world, but you are sort of hoping quite a few things go your way then. You need a pistol, maybe even sort of hope that your opponents look for a force. Maybe you've got to hope to win that first full buy. A few things like that, but still definitely the chance. Hazanator softened up early, but tons of information gained.
I don't mind that type of play from Hazanator. He has lost a fair bit of health and will lose his life. Fozil needs to do a lot now, Katie. Rotating in, just tapping away, not connecting. Bomb site taken. It's going to be really tough now. No defuse kit on these 3. I don't even know if there's one dropped, and they haven't really got the util to push through these smokes. Speaking of smokes, they got 2 of their own. But Rag has just retrieved another. He's going to drop it towards E-Box. It just makes this post-plant so much easier. Zello's going to drop the molly in CT as well. And to me, that's the round done. Confirmed. Just too little time, and Ragga can find KD with ease. Zello spamming through. Easy on an AWP. Such a struggle. We'll get 1, though. Attempting to secure the second, but there's just no chance. BTN doubles down, closes out the round. Nexus get 9. And a very strong start here for Nexus, I think we have to say.
Oh, 100%. I think the thing that impressed me the most is honestly the basics as Nexus have done. Every time they've broken into a bomb site, the trading's been so sharp. You look at that final round again, first kill's found. Trade comes through from Ruby, but instantly Nexus are there, ready to pounce. Don't allow the CTs to back away. Don't allow them to delay, double up. It's so instantaneous. It's really great to watch. I mean, there, you see it here. Look at that, breaking open the B-bomb site that way. They don't allow Katie to find a kill before the smokes land. They play it very smartly. The second half underway now.
Yeah.
Next on 9.
And obviously, this is where a lot of fortune's got to go the way of Ruby.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they've got on this teaser. I do think Easy's had a very tough time with the AWP. I think Nexus seemingly have just been avoiding him, not necessarily deliberately, but always felt like Easy was out of the action. Nice fire from Hazonator there, and this is a great start from Ruby. Looking to very much press their advantage. Hazonator doubles down onto BTN. Wonk has slipped the net, but the Glocks hit the headshot and take him out of the round. And Zello in a 1 versus 4.
Yeah, look, Ruby, they do get that fortune. They do start things off nicely on their T side because, honestly, without it, they would have been left scrambling here on Anubis. Still, though, many rungs of the ladder yet to climb. And just whether they think they can get kind of back there. I still feel like Nexus are very much in the driver's seat here. Just an eco here from Nexus. No funny business. Obviously, we did see them go for that force. Or it was, in fact, sorry, Ruby go for that force. But Nexus not employing the same decision. And I quite like it. Didn't really get many kills. I don't think it's worth it. Just going for maybe 5-7 Steagles. Maybe the odd MP9. Stack here towards the A-bomb site. Nexus, they might go creeping here. And sadly, it's Sawalio. If it were an AK, I feel like there'd be a better chance, you know, retrieve the weapon, at least give it a go. But the MAC-10, ooh, timing could look good now. Ooh, ammunition being a problem for Hazonator, but with the final bullets, he gets his 4th. Nice round there for Hazonator. I feel like sometimes, you know, when a player is having maybe not the best of games, obviously was 7 and 12 before that, you know, just a round like that can be really helpful for an individual's confidence.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Started the second half very well. Pissed around successfully before him. Very much the key difference maker there. But weapons are in play, and this is where the real challenge starts for Ruby.
Yeah, look, they can't fumble now. They can't falter. It's not like their finances are perfect. Launux, he's this A player. I would be very worried if I were Ruby. To me, the A-bomb site's locked off, but Zello, he goes for that glass cannon and already shattering the aggressors on the Ruby side. Great find there, Fozil falling. It's something that we didn't see from Easy, going for those early shots, getting those early kills. And I wanted to say it kind of on the T side of Nexus. There were so many rounds where finances were available for the AWP for Zello, but didn't go for it. He kept the AK. And I love the reposition as well. We've got a AAA setup. We've got the AWP to take contact. Launux there as a kind of precautionary member. And then similarly, BTN. And again, I said, look, Ruby, they struggled because there wasn't this this kind of structured aggression. We're going to be seeing it here from Nexus now. Launux and Zello, they are just going to be going for a little bit of a look here towards Canals. And they could catch Sawalio. This is the bomb carrier now. With this Molly and E-Box as well, it should contain them for just an extra few short moments. And Launux swinging. Hazonator will get one. The AWP of Zello now attempting. We'll find Katie. Aware that there's another in Hazonator. Zello goes for the flick. Doesn't connect, but Sound now facing against 2. Hoping for the reposition. That is the bomb carrier falling, and it's Easy in the clutch. BTN, though, just waiting patiently behind this smoke. Oh, he swings out. Why has he got his knife in hand? What is Easy doing? There was 11 seconds on the clock. There was no time to head to A. What are we doing there?
I think just convinced that BTN's going to play around the clock. Maybe play for that bomb tap or something along the lines of that. But the push through the smoke, evidently not what Easy expected. I mean, pretty scary spray from BTN, if we're being honest. I mean, look at this. But still, a successful one, and double digits hit now from Nexus.
Aggression coming through. Launix gets one. Zello close by as well. Flashbang seen, and Zello turning from it. He's done so much damage to Easy, but not only is it a man advantage, Easy's a strong gust of wind away from falling. BTN gonna be the one under pressure as the healthier heroes on Ruby are currently towards middle.
And this is the chance for Nexus, isn't it? Look at the money for Ruby. They won't have a lot to play with. This round could be the one that essentially determines Nexus's fate on this map.
Yeah, definitely. Important kill, though, from Katie. Thins the defenses of Nexus, but in the meantime, we've seen this aggression into Canals. It's all going to be about timing for Raga. He doesn't really have the operative weapon for this. He's got an MP9, but he will get one. Easy can get the trade, and surely some rotations will be seen. "30 seconds remaining. Nexus are going to take a bit of a gamble, but remember, Charlie, this was a 4 versus 3 with a low HP Easy. Maybe not the outcome we'd expect. Zello is going to go searching here, though. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. They've heard the steps that he can drop on down, and that's the bomb now. Throw out a Molotov. Does he not realize there's another player there? I feel like there's been so many missed decisions recently. I'm slowly losing my mind, and this could be a big one. Tap of the bomb. What is going on?
It's certainly been a bit of a chaotic finish here to Anubis. I mean, if we are getting to that finish, but it definitely does look like it, as money for Ruby is broken. Basically, they've now got this choice, Fred, don't they? Give up 12, try to make that comeback 12-5 down, or go for the 4 spot. Do you agree with this decision?
Yeah. Look, I think because the Nexus finances are low as well, I think the upside is so far greater. But it's also, do you really think you're going to win 7 rounds in a row? I don't think Ruby has conveyed anything to that kind of statement. There's going to be this play through middle. Oh, it's a drop into ebooks. In fact, Zello has spotted a couple, and it's a fast play through B. And the question is whether the defenders are ready, whether Raga and Sound can defend, if they can hold off against the HE grenade thrown. A lot of damage dealt. Sound gets the double, but a rotation from Launux. And oh, wow. They push in as 5 and then leave as 5, but it's 5 dead bodies and no casualties for Nexus. A display of CT dominance here from Nexus is not what I was expecting, and I have to say, although Nexus might have been unfavored in the vetoes, when it comes to the firepower argument, I feel like the scales have flipped massively. Lounx 21 and 10, Sound 4 kills behind. They've got 38 kills combined on the two of them. It's insane.
I mean, this has been quite the showing, hasn't it? This really is... this feels like the game that you want to put as the staple for this is what Romanian talent can be. Like, this is what Romanian CS... These are the peaks of what the players can achieve.
Definitely.
And it's been a great watch for Nexus right now. Ruby, I don't think there's much life left in them. Anubis, and I think Nexus really proved that since bringing in Launch, their Anubis has completely changed.
It's the fact that Zello's 10 and 9. I'm still kind of shocked that it's a 12-5 scoreline and Zello doesn't have 30 kills. A vast majority of the time, that's what I've just been so used to. You know, we've known and watched this Nexus team for what feels like 2-3 years now. Obviously, we have seen Zello. I guess you could say he's a newer addition, but you know he had time on Nexus beforehand. And he's always been the star. He's not even been required. It's incredible. And Nexus, I said maybe they aren't conveying the signs of a team that should be 3-0, but the way they're playing right now, the double from Sound, he makes it a 3rd. He wanted that 20 kills as well. He wanted that that achievement, same as Launx. Okay, well, Ruby, back to the drawing board, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Nexus could be running away with things in this series, which is pretty concerning. I think we both looked at this game and thought, both these teams, I think coming into this, I'll be honest, I hold my hands up, and I probably wouldn't have predicted them to be sort of that close to this spot. It certainly could have made a playoff run, but I definitely thought it might be in a bit more of a 3 or 2 type record for them. But the fact that Nexus are 1 map away here, the fact that Ruby are 2 maps away from making it into playoffs for 3-0, I think that completely changes sort of how I thought of this, but I definitely did think this was going to be a close series between the two. Nexus right now might be having other ideas. Obviously, moving on to Ancient next. This hasn't been the greatest map for Nexus. Don't get me wrong though, Fred. They've had some really, really, really close losses on this map, and it feels like almost all of their losses come under that same bracket.
Yeah, and not only close losses, they're close losses to good teams, as you pointed out before. But obviously, Nexus, they've now got 2 opportunities to close out the series and go 3-0 in the Swiss stage, which is so impressive. And it is going to really kind of stamp down that seal of approval of that this Romanian side are here to stay. And they're wanting to make waves. They're wanting to push for kind of bigger and better things. So I'm excited to see how that Ancient game does unfold. But we will be jumping to a break beforehand. Heading straight into the action. I know the timer said 2 minutes, but we're going to catch you off by surprise. So for those of you who were patiently waiting, I guess you get to see the action early. Look, Nexus, it was an exceptional performance throughout Anubis. I think very impressive. Not only were Ruby a little bit off the mark, they were nowhere near it. Not only when it comes to individuals, it just seemed as though the strategy, the game plan on the CT side of Anubis was not up to par, and that's why we have seen such a one-sided scoreline of 13-5. And now Nexus, so well drilled for what Ruby have for them here on the T side of Ancient, because it's a bit of a stack in middle. But the question is, are they going to be ready for this kind of late play? Well, Rag is going to get close. Oh, this could go so wrong. He spots that one and Easy. A lovely shot there. Still confrontation here towards Short, towards Shelf, and Easy searching for a second. Great find from Launix. And Launix, even on low HP, he's hungry for it. Zello now trying to take this fire. How is Easy alive for so long? Will eventually get taken down. Man advantage here for Nexus, and they're closing in on Ruby, trying to suffocate, trying to deny control of Donut. But in fact, we've seen Launix head to Red Room. He's got a smoke and a kit. 2 players pushing through Temple. They've got to just give up this control. They've got to give up this fight. Dello now creeping. Once that smoke gets on the bomb, that's where things get really tough. Katie gets a kill, though. An attempt at the stick of the bomb. It is just a tap, in fact. He gets off of it, and he can find another. It's all about finding Hazardator through this smoke, though. Not going to be easy. Tap once again. I like the idea from Lounge. Goes for a knife kill from himself, but he can't connect it. And Hazardator finds with a bullet. Chaos from the get-go here on Ancient.
So close to actually connect that knife there and to be the ones to pull it off. Yeah, I mean, it kind of had to be a dab. That was actually really unfortunate that it was Longs on the kit there. He was really low HP. He knew that if he just sticks that bomb, he will get tapped away through the smoke. Has to try to look for the fight. It looked positive, had chances to take down Hazanator, but not to be. Some really nice shots there from the Ruby players to be able to come out on top while being disadvantaged as well, of course.
Yeah, look, big pistol from Ruby. Exactly what they need, but Nexus, they are going to push the issue already. Strong setup here towards A-Main, but he could get unsettled in a matter of moments, and BTN falls as well as Ragga. And this is where the CTs just have to save already. Surely can't do much, and Easy gets a second. Ruby, an excellent start here. I think that's the problem with that A-Main setup. If you're doing it maybe with an MP9 and a rifle, I think you stand a bit of a better chance, but a 5.7 and an MP9, the fact the 5.7 goes down for nothing, I don't really see what can be done. And although Launix gets one, it is the MAC-10 that's going to be retrieved. At least it gives them another weapon to fight within the next.
Yeah, I mean, at least we're getting to see a bit more from Ruby.
Yeah, definitely.
Was a little bit worried that just the momentum alone from Nexus and some of the individuals that we saw, Sound, Longs, Zello as well, they'd be able to sort of carry through. Ragga even would be able to carry through a little bit too much. But yeah, I'm happy that we get to see at least Ruby fight slightly. I'm interested to actually see how long it takes Sound to warm up into the game, because he was actually a little bit slow off the mark, but wasn't far off in terms of the fragging department behind Longs at the end. But yeah, it took him a few rounds to really to get off the mark, but once he was into the thick of it, yeah, big difference we saw.
I think the real question now is, look, Ruby, they are a far better side on Ancient, but the question is that going to swing enough in their favor? Oh, the nades, they kind of delay and deny that run boost. I'm quite fortunate there for Ruby, because the control that they would have been able to take early on would have been so vital. There's going to be a full gamble rotation towards A. They've cleared out B lane, they've cleared out middle. Ruby, they're going to be going into a hefty stack here. The flash might deter Ruby, in fact. They're going to back away. This one flashbang might change the outcome of the entire round and potential for the game. This was a full gamble towards A. This would have been perfect. That one flashbang has ruined this setup from Nexus.
For now, at least, Ragga does go down. Still the chance they could go towards A, but when you look at Fozzel's position as well, perhaps they are also going to group towards B, and yeah, that's seemingly what the goal is going to be. Swallow might eventually look to probe out towards A to try to make some cash. Could easily get taken down by that MAC-10 that has been elevated up. But at that point, I think they already know the round is won. But actually, Ruby have changed their mind.
Yeah, changing their minds or not, they found the kills, and even with 34 seconds left, they'll just go through this. No issues for Sawalio, the flying MP9. They go into the stacked bomb site, and they come out of it with 5 survivors. Ruby, they go 3-0 up. Reminiscent to Nexus's success on Anubis, and now this is the determining moment for how this game could go. Zello, he's got the AWP in play. Rifles across the rest of Nexus and utility pretty strong. The odd flashbang or two missing, but otherwise pretty decent. Nades coming through to attempt to contain this early mid pressure. Great flashbang from Zello. Launix can get 2. We'll keep fighting though, and the only way he can get himself out of there was to fight forward. He was behind that smoke. I don't think many expected much more. A 3-on-3 though. Problem is, Nexus, they've had to give up a lot of control, and that control's been given them B. Fozzle can take a lot of space here, but he's got to be very proactive and, I guess, risk averse, because not easy to take this B space on your own. Nice fight from Katie. Important from Sound. He can't double down though, and it leaves Zello in the 1 versus 2.
Yeah, it does reposition towards middle, but Easy's already backed away, looking to rejoin his teammate in Fozzle. So it's all going to be about Zello's repositioning, and you see he feels a bit uncomfortable playing with the AWP with so many angles to clear.
I think he knows that Easy's low HP as well. He's got that confirmed information. He's retrieved a smoke grenade now. This might aid the chance of the clutch. Oh, stepped, but won't be heard. I think moments like that always just make you realise, okay, well, these professional players, they step when they shouldn't as well. We're not the only ones. Easy just going to be left on the bomb site on low HP. He's tucked away in the cubby, and this is an angle that could get overlooked with the AWP. I think sometimes you have to take a risk, but spots him out with the rifle, going to smoke off, or molly off, in fact, the left hand. So, what? Zello? No scope through the wall there. Now just clearing. Fozzle is creeping his way up. Going to be the tap of the bomb here, and now Fozzle in the 1v1. Goes for the quick shot there. Missed, though, from Zello. And now he's hunting him down. He has got enough time if he gets the kill now, but he goes for the no-scope again. Taken down. Fozzle with the clutch, and Ruby continuing.
Definitely chances there for Nexus. The setup towards middle, when we saw that aggression initially from BTM, was very good. You had Katie behind the boxes. They didn't realize that Easy was there as well.
Yeah.
And you could see after Sound eventually got the trade onto Katie. You see Easy can just swing out. Nice, simple kill from Defined. And Nexus, that sort of regress towards me, did get caught out and around like that. But a 4-0 start and nothing on the board yet.
Just a half by here. We're not really expecting much from Nexus, but at what point do we start saying, okay, well, 2-0's off the cards? Because Ruby are trying to kind of shut down any chance of that. I think the most impressive part is it's usually been Ruby's CT side of Ancient that's been what's kind of carried them through these games. So the fact they have got such a good start on the CT side is just going to kind of breed so much more confidence.
The aggression looks good here. Long, surely he's going to get found. It feels like this position so rarely overlooked. But he takes a step forward, and that kind of gives him that kill.
Pushing through the Molotov is BTN. That's just a BTN player, isn't it? Quintessential. Pushing through a molly late as well to surprise, but no one's there. They just re-aggress as a group. Sound is crossed. I don't know whether Easy's seen this, but he's posted up on something. Reposition of Rag is good. Launix now just holding for a late flank. There's 27 seconds left. Ruby are going to go for a late decision. Launix is here. He's got a molly for the bomb as well. Sound's got control, and Rag is going to be flanking. This is a real chance here. Oh, Easy holding for Ragga, though. And now even more weight on Launix's shoulders. He's alone. There's 14 seconds left. He's waiting for the molly for the bomb, though. Oh, this could be so costly. Here's the tap. It's the tap of the bomb. Now spamming through. Reposition of Easy. It will. The bomb can go down. Switching to the AK as Launix. He gets another. He needs the ace to clutch this one out, and he needs the 1v4. But Launix The player he was on Anubis. If he can bring this across, oh, easy. Such an important shot there. Financial damage is seen, but I think, again, it was like Zello's 1v5. Is when the couple kills start going, you really believe.
I mean, I love the idea of this. The tap, honestly, probably saved the bomb onto there.
Yeah,
just being able to really quickly avoid the molly, not get spammed or anything. Definitely did change things. I think it was a great idea from Lonks not to be, though, pushing through. The smoke has an HP. Instantly flicks up towards the B lane to try to find something, but Raga doubles down. KD is there for a trade. It is just Ragaby's lonesome, so easy to deal with. Disadvantage for Nexus again here.
Well, I think the problem with that round is Nexus, they kind of play 3 in middle. Obviously, Raga being the run boosted across. But the idea is that there's going to be 2 players from Ruby in mid. They just send 1 out. And because of that, they can have 3 players outside B main. Raga gets the 2 that he needs to, but he's not expecting a 3rd. But the confidence there to swing out of middle is everything. It's what changes the round for Ruby. Because not only is it kind of the fact they get the kill, but it's the information as well. Nice read here from BTN, repositioning to CT. A little bit worried about Red Room, and quite rightly. There's an HE grenade that he could send into middle, and has an 8 on 10 HP. I think we both know that that nade is ready to land at his feet. Zello, great angle.
He has crossed his eyesight, though.
Not up the ramp. So still some... I don't know if he's playing too... I don't think he's playing too tight of an angle for KD to creep past, but he might be playing a tough one. Well, never mind. Nice shot from Zello. Again, it's these late decisions here from Ruby.
Oh, it's going to be tough to cross. That's the bomb going down. Has an 8 to 10 points of health. Has to fight his way out, but the nade from BTN is good enough to win the round without having to need to take the duel. AWP can be saved, and Nexus, finally, Fred, they post a round on the board.
Look, though, you look at that round. After Zello gets that 2nd kill, to me, the round's done. If Hazenator's not 10 HP there, the nade was quite deep. If he's not 10 HP, it's a 1v1 with a bomb down. I don't really know why Zello's going for that type of fight. Either way, though, an important round for Nexus. It is that swing round. It is this chance now for them to kind of get a grasp back on this game. Heavy emphasis on grasp because they are just clutching. They need to have more stability here on this CT side.
Nade looked really well timed, actually, but I think just a little too deep for where Lonks was. 2 players facing off against him here, though. As he does find nothing towards window, opens up a lot of space now for Ruby to look to play with.
Well, I think the problem is Lonks is still having a good game, but it's not quite the same comparison. It's not that kind of 11-1. Yet, Zello is having, you know, okay moments here and there. But the problem is BTN, Raga, Sound, they're all struggling. Easy and important kill there onto Raga. A great find there in A main. KD's got to be cautious, though. If he goes down to Zello, it gives this round a lot more possibility for Nexus.
And BTN made quite a lot of noise, and it's actually allowed Chwalio to take a deeper angle here towards Red Room. One that could catch off Sound.
Yeah, the problem is as well as this Fozzle to contend with. I don't love the idea from Ruby because they are all split. And all it takes is kind of good timing, nice shots to change this round, and Fozzle's got loud. Sound gets a freebie. And now it's a 3-on-3 with players posted up. Great find from Zello. And now he can just hold to A main. Easy's going to have to back away. Sawalio, you've got great positioning, but the question is there discipline? Oh, Sawalio is creeping up. The problem with him spotting Zello here is he kind of has to kill him. And there's a close reposition. BTN is so close to this, and he finds the bomb carrier. Kill has to come through now. Sawalio will find it. Sticking the bomb. Sound spamming through. He doesn't connect. He's been given a chance now, Sawalio. Again, he's been shot. The flashbang allows him to evade and escape, but he's still playing close to the smoke. Molly and Donut.
Yeah, Sound's in a really tough spot now. He's going to be waiting out 2 smokes, and he's got no intel on where Sawalio is. He's crossed to A main. I think this reposition, honestly, is enough to win the round.
Yeah, excellent here from Sawalio. Great decision making. Sound never even gonna look. Why would he? Great clutch there from Sawalio. Such an important kill onto BTN as well. Again, Nexus, they seem so close to finding success, but just missing not only the massive gap that Sawalio takes advantage of, but also just missing their moment. After BTN gets that kill, they seem so prepared for it to be this A play, yet somehow just weren't kind of not enough for preparation of someone through red or anything like that. I don't know. I don't know what to think about how this game's gone so far. I think Ruby have played really nicely, but I think Nexus have made a fair few mistakes as well.
Yeah, look, I'm definitely in the same boat as you. You're never gonna have a game where you see one team winning just purely off of unbelievable CS. There's always going to be mistakes. There's always going to be things that could be changed.
And this could be it.
And Nexus definitely had those. But that would have been an opportunity to reset Ruby. It wouldn't have forced them onto a force buy, but it would have definitely made them go for an eco. And maybe Nexus find a little bit more in this game. But Lonx's double gives a lot to work with here.
Yeah, and with Excello pushing down. Great double there. It's all on easy, and it's a 1v4. I like the speed and the aggression that Nexus take. I think it's exactly what they need. Kind of change up the pace a bit. Easy. Well, he's hoping for easy kills. Won't be given anyone like that. Raga quick enough to get the trade. Orp can be saved. Nexus back on the score sheet. Look, I asked this question on Anubis, and I'll ask it here on Ancient. What's the bare minimum here? Are we thinking 4 again? I feel like that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think it's nearly as much as one-sided. I kind of would want to see Nexus get 5. Yeah. You certainly can make it work with that. We'll need to see a really good-looking T-side from Nexus. But right now, I do feel like Ruby just have been that far better team. And unless Nexus do show us why they deserve to be in a close game, I think Ruby are going to go and take it. But this is a great chance.
I love the discipline. Raga's close here towards Elbow. They've got this information, but it means that Raga can push through. He's got the MP9. He's probably not going to get this kill, but he doesn't give away his information. Loudness can get one. No contact here towards B. None anymore towards middle, so it should just be this A play. Flashbang onto Zello's angle. I really like the idea of this. Missed flashbang, though. Zello now spots so many. Raga's MP9 attempting. And Raga's MP9's finding.
Yeah, the fact it's still finding the impressive thing. Raga being chipped down quite softly early. Look how much attention he's still drawing. MP9's flying across the screen. BTN finds decent bit of damage dealt there from all the Ruby players, but the investment not a successful one, and Nexus have really found themselves back into this game. Now 4 looks like a guarantee with a couple of rounds remaining after this. Yeah, excellent there. But again, it comes off the basis that I really liked how they started that round. Raga could have fired off the bullets, but a jumping Tech-9 flying into cave, you're never really going to get that kill. But it just poises Lonx to get that kill just so easily because he can just stay 100% drilled on that angle. Fast play through B, and look, many players have pushed through Molotovs, many with clocks, and many to fall. Just the one as an Ater. Tech-9 finds, Orp can be saved. And look, Raga, just get rid of that MP9. Throw it on the floor, leave it in CT spawn, upgrade to a rifle. No need to take any risk. We're heading to the final portions of this half. And from what's gone to a very one-sided game, Nexus, they've got that slight look in, and it all came off the back of that force buy victory, that kind of the nades and the util damage that Loudnix was able to get the molly kills from, the double as well from Zello. I'm liking this now. Yeah, I mean, this has been quite the turnaround we've seen from Nexus, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They were looking a little bit scarily out of this game. Bought themselves in.
Ooh, Raga misses shots a little bit. Loudnix rotating in. Chips away even further at Hazanator. BTN finding KD's important, though. Because it's a 4v3 and Hazanator's a bullet from death. This should be a pretty decent look here for Nexus to find 5. And with the finances of Ruby not perfect, it could be a 6. And that's why we say, okay, 6-6 start. Not a
the
bad
context
first
as well
half.
of the game.
Look, they were 6-1 down. Who cares about that?
Exactly.
That first 7 rounds if you're able to bring it back level? If anything, it's more impressive. It shows the mental resilience. It shows the kind of the ability that these players have. And look, as I said, players needed to step up. BTN's now 7-7. Sound's getting himself involved. Lounix is continuing, and obviously Zello as well. So this is exactly what we needed to see from Nexus. They've got a good setup here, quite passive on the B-bomb side, not wanting to keep themselves too close to the action. And the fact that Ruby have very limited utility, I think this is going to work out very nicely for Nexus. Timing's going to be everything for Hazamator, but he falls. And now Ruby still creep their way up to the B-bomb site ever closer. They drop the smoke.
He's giving up a bit of a fight here, and he does go down, but it allows this bomb to go down. I felt like Sound should have been fully tucked. Just waited, play off of his teammate who they already know is their guaranteed chance here.
It's a 4v2 retake if he plays disciplined. That's one in which they should never lose, but now it's a 2-on-2. Great find from Fozzel. Could look for another, will go down, and I like the Zello switches to the rifle that... Look, I think sometimes in those 2 VXs, we know how impressive Zello is with the AWP, but you know what? I'm picking up a rifle, I'm playing shoulder to shoulder, and it works out perfectly. And he can keep an AK for his teammate in the next. Nexus, they find themselves 5. Limited finances. Obviously, the bomb plant's going to be helpful for Ruby, but very impressive from Nexus. Even if they lose this last round, 6-1 down, 7-5 half, not too bad at all.
Yeah, I'll be super impressed if they actually find 6. I mean, 5 already, I think, is a pretty big turnaround.
Yeah,
I think that Nexus definitely will look at the second half and say, yeah, we can definitely work with this. We can certainly bring ourselves back into this game. But 6 would be one step further. Back and forth trades in middle, left and right, but Ruby, as the dust settles, are the ones to come out on top. Hazanator a little bit on his lonesome here, pushing towards A.
Yeah,
but it's the info. It's the info from KD. The fact he's found that kill, he knows that B is open. Sound quickly rotating away and might actually be able to isolate another 1v1 fight here.
I like if he stays hidden behind the box, but no. Yeah, steps now. Great from KD. Ruby ended 7-5. As we said, I think 5, enough, isn't it? If they win the T-side pistol, 7-7, both teams now move to their favourite side. I think we've got an exciting second half here. I was a little bit worried we'd see a repeat of a one-sided scoreline, but...
Yeah, honestly, I think when we first saw this game, part of me felt, are we going to just have a bit of a repeat of Anubis, but just flipped slightly? Seemingly not. Seemingly not. In terms of what we have seen from Ruby, though, it has to be said, Fred, statistically, have been favouring that CT side by quite a substantial margin. And the fact that they've just won that T side...
Yeah, look, when I said both teams are moving to their favoured side, I think we do have to say that Ruby, this is a large favour. It's a difference of, 16, 17% in the win rate. Whereas for Nexus, it's just a slight benefit, I guess.
I mean, that's the thing. I do think Nexus are better than we give them credit for on this map. And I do think a lot of teams do really like this T side. I think Nexus do need sort of a couple of stars to align for them to be a bit favoured in this game. Because, you see, don't get me wrong, Lonx is having a good game, but no one else is exactly playing to the same level that they were on map number 1, nor is Lonx. And I think that is what Nexus need again. Zello attempting a bit of a difficult shot there onto KD. Jump spotting in red room. No early kill found though, and Nexus playing a bit of a default right now. I think just getting a bit of a lay of the land, where their opponents are, what's the setup potentially looking like.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I quite like a slower play T-pistol. I feel like sometimes when you go into it with your game plan and you're like, well, we're going to go for a fast middle. If we get a pick in red room, we push through red to B, or maybe we look to back away, or we've got the, fast donut. Whereas if you just play it slowly, you kind of allow for your opponents to be the ones to make that mistake. KD spotted here deep in red.
No chance of giving up as the smoke comes down and KD just forced to stare into the fumes. He goes 1-for-1 the bomb site. Lonx fully jumping across CT there in hopes of getting this bomb down. Hazanator quick into Donut. Already is a T waiting there. Back up in BTN's arrived, but Sound does it alone. Now push it in, break it into A are the CTs, but it is crumbling this offense to try to defuse the bomb in time. Ragga finds it and no one shows, no one gives up. Ragga doubles down. He wants more, wants to end it alone. Fluffs the line slightly, but he's certainly bought enough time for the rest of the team to clean things up. In fact, it is Ragga to find the 4th. Quad kill from him. And Nexus secure that pistol round and bring this game one step closer to being leveled up.
Yeah, important from Nexus there. Not to say that if they lost the pistol, it would be a little bit too out of reach, but definitely what they needed.
Yeah, no force buy for Ruby, no funny business here.
No, I think it's the right play. Do you really want to give a force, give the opportunity for not only the MAC-10s to make loads of money, but also, you know, for your opponents to take the lead? I don't think so.
I don't think in this series when you're a map down, no. It does feel like there's a level of risk that probably just isn't worth it. Again, a bit of a standard default from Nexus, playing it slow and steady. They had no... I think especially now that there's been no utility that's been thrown from Ruby, Nexus are going to be aware that this is very likely the eco that they're facing off against. So just slow things down, see where they are.
Yeah, definitely. Let the MAC-10s probe. Because worst case scenario, you lose a MAC-10 that's going to be an AK in the next round. But Ruby not waiting any longer. They send the flashbang there. Steps are heard in Cave. And now BTN, he can smell the money here.
BTN does get flashed in. 3 players behind the pillar. BTN clears, finds the first. Spots the second and third. Will take them with the support of Sound by his side. Just on Fozil left to find. A couple of players have been softened up, so maybe the chance Fozil can get out of this round. He kill more, and will do so. Actually, not onto the low HP player at all. And BTN used no intention of picking up Galil. Ran towards the horizon. MAC-10 in hand still, but we're in a leveled up game. For anyone just joining us, Nexus, they were successful in map number 1. Their map pick of Anubis, where they quite dominantly won 13-5 on that map. This is obviously a 2-0 game. The winner advances into playoffs, and I think this would be a spot we haven't seen Nexus in what feels like in a long time. We've seen them in a CCT playoff.
Yeah, no, I feel like, you know, you spoke about Cybershock being a team that were kind of a Swiss stage team, and maybe they get the odd game into playoffs, but not always so. Nexus, to me, have never been a team that I think, oh, okay, yeah, they are a playoff side. Yeah, they're looking so good now, aren't they?
Yeah, very much. Trading looked good. Ruby almost came out on top, but you needed Hasnated to double down. Brought Zello down to half HP, but not enough. Easy has been able to rotate in, has been able to isolate this 1v1, and takes down Launch as well. Trading that we praised Nexus for so heavily, a little bit off the mark there.
Yeah, Ragga in these clutch situations, I feel like he's going to be a trusted member here of this Nexus side. Easy spamming through. Oh, Ragga. He's got himself a gap. He just needs to... Oh, he's holding towards ramp. Why didn't he just check cave again? Don't really know.
I think just sort of assuming, oh, I've cleared it. They know I'm no longer planted. They're probably just holding. But yeah, certainly missed the mark on that one. Bomb plant would have been nice just to add a bit of extra cash. Potentially allowed Longs to get out a MAC-10. Maybe give Zello a bit of a better weapon. A bit more util here or there, but not the case. Resonator out towards middle. Ragga falling early doors. And obviously this is the full investment from Nexus. If they're not successful here, Ruby should find double digits. Molotov dropped forcing Hasnator at bay. The bomb can go down in a 4 versus 4. Still though, you've got a Tech 9 on Lonks and a Deagle on Zello.
Yeah, I think the good thing is here, if these rifles can get kills and if weapons can be retrieved, that's where things get very scary. BTN doubles. And now Katie with work to do, but BTN finds a third. What a round from the in-game leader. Nexus,
Yeah.
they needed a hero there, and BTN.
Yeah, I mean, that's... I do think a little bit fortunate there. Easy just overlooks where BTN is playing and goes for a wide swing rather than looking at the close triangle. Allows BTN to find one. And there alone, I say that's a huge turning point in the round there, giving Nexus the man advantage. But it doesn't stop. Keeps on going, finds 2 more kills after that. And like you said, leading by example. BTN, the most experienced player on this team, finding so much impact there and keeping this game close.
Yeah, obviously, though, for Ruby, I think keeping it close is not the game plan. They need victory. They need to find it, because otherwise it's the end of the series. Obviously, it's not the end of their Swiss stage, but we're getting to the latter portion of Ancient here, and I think questions have to be asked. Ruby, this was quite heavily favored in your regard when it comes to map selection, when it comes to kind of sample size, win rate. Yet, things have fallen a little bit flat, gone silent, one could say.
Wonks tapping through the smoke. Yeah, certainly have eased off the gas, it feels like. And when you are a map down in this series, when this is your map selection, you don't really have time to do so. This obviously is just the ego from Ruby. They're going to get a buyout, but obviously they are going to be giving up Nexus, the lead to Nexus, which is something I really did not think we would be hearing, especially not this early in the game, considering this was, like you said, 6-1 at one point in favor of Ruby. The fact that Nexus have gone on a pretty damn good streak to find themselves here. Yeah, this is a big turnaround. Does Zello go down? I think he's going to be able to make it just about far enough away. Apparently not.
MB9 can save the AK anyway.
Yeah, not too big an issue. Money's looking all right. Not the same that can be said though for Ruby.
Yeah, this is going to be a conditioning round now. I think Ruby need to change up the pace on this CT side. They need a bit more structured aggression, because it seems like Nexus, they're looking to get aggressive. They're looking to take space on this CT side, and very rarely there's been that resistance.
No early bloodshed dealt in this round just yet. No damage even dealt. A bit of a surprise considering what we've seen so far. Both teams looking to heavily fight for certain positions. Not the case in this round. No util even really being dumped out. Nexus have had no issues in terms of taking mid. You can see it's forcing KD back. Don't have any donut presence either, so playing quite massively here towards Red Room. One minute marking still. Both teams slow and steady. Ruby have given up a lot of space, so we could see Nexus just push into Donut for free. Push into Red Room for free as well.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I said Ruby needs structured aggression. They need control. They need some form of stability here on their CT side. They've not got it. Elevated angle for Zawalio can be so fortunate. Lounix taken down.
Oh, BTM, this is really risky. Both players.
Oh, Sound finding that kill could draw rotations. Sound gets a double. B-bomb site open. Swallow finds Zello. This is the bomb carrier. Swallow just needs to live. He just needs to live for a couple seconds longer, and that's the round over. This is the problem with having so many flanks, so many kind of, I guess, deeper positions, is Nexus, they lose the bomb carrier. They lose the round. It looks so embarrassing.
Do both survive, though. A bit worried Sound might have fallen after time there. But yeah, I do agree. It felt like maybe the goal of Nexus changed quite a few times in that round. And it did feel like you had a couple of players maybe had a bit of space, had some individual ideas, but overall the whole team, yeah, never felt fully put together there. Great chance for both teams here. Money teetering on being broken for both sides. Winner of this could be able to find 11.
Yeah, this is a 2-for-1 special here.
I think perhaps. Oh, maybe not actually. I was going to say maybe if Ruby win it, they might even force Nexus into a full investment, but I don't think that will be the case.
I think Bomb Plant maybe changes it. Maybe if Ruby kind of have a, you know, just the one survivor, Nexus get the bomb down, although Nexus lose the round, Zello and Sound could invest. I guess there's going to be some contingencies and some conditions on whether Nexus do decide to force. BTN. Be searching for this pick here. Azanator taking a bit of a risk. I quite like the idea of this. He's got Fozzle by his side. The T's need to be so cautious. The bomb is alone here towards ramp. This could get very dangerous here. BTN goes down. Both players need to reload. Both of them need a reload, and it's the USB. Oh, I thought it was the USB kill that would take the shining for this round, but it's the collapse from Zello, and that has given Nexus a huge chance. But Katie re-aggressing here. They send the deep smoke to cut off rotations. Katie's going to look to push through it, but easy. Tucked away towards Cubby.
Yeah, Nexus is really fortunate to even be in this spot. This feels like a round that they have not played well enough to be able to get the win, but they've been given a lifeline thanks to the collapse, and they are going to capitalize on it. So Walio in a 1 versus 2. The initial kill from Lawrence is great. Zello, a little bit slow off the mark, actually, but still connecting the bullet in time. And it's all on Walio, heading towards K, facing off against the higher health Lawrence, who is posted up on this angle.
Shoulder spotted. Great crosshair placement from Laux. We'll find. Look, the collapse fortunate. I think the pre-fire from Laux is excellent onto. I want to say it was easy in the cubby. I think it's brilliant there. I think sometimes when you are in those 2vx's, you've got limited time. You're going to be giving up your position anyway. An extra 1-2 seconds on a rotate aren't going to make the difference. But the pre-fire is excellent. Nexus fine 10. But yeah, look, Zello. Fortunate collapse. I think he's quite fortunate as well. He doesn't get taken down by Katie. It seemed like he unscoped at the perfect time. But 11 should be found now by Nexus. Unless if the Kevlar and Julies, the Kevlar and 5-7 and the Zeus can do wonders.
Yeah, this would be a surprise if we do see any real success from it. But again, we've seen Nexus do this a couple of times. Slow and steady launch. Not with the greatest spray we've seen, but definitely good enough to find easy. Yeah, I think they're looking a bit dicey here or there for Nexus, but then finding the man advantage. No weapons being able to be retrieved.
I guess it
feels like this should be good enough.
At least it's Zello's low. You know, it's the AWPer.
Yeah, I like the idea from KD pushing there. If he is able to find Zello, you're a bit more convinced, but Zello now is getting posted up ready for that aggression. Finds the kill with the AWP. Nexus just need to group together and make sure Fozzo can't find anything else with this Deagle.
Look, if Ruby can get, 1 or 2 more kills here, obviously it's not easy. It'd be massive. Great for the program. I think Fozzo's been spotted, though. Yeah, they seem very aware of it. Spam with the Deagle. Zello holding for Zawalio. Nexus keep 4 alive. Finance is looking strong as well. 2 rounds away from closing out the series now. Expectations. Are we thinking Nexus take it now?
Well, we've seen Nexus have a ton of very, very close losses. I think they're all going to be sort of having this moment, using Ruby's tactical pause to keep your fingers crossed that it's not going to be another one of those close losses, and it's going to be one of those very few games that they can finally manage to bring over the line, because they've got the chances. They've got the pieces now to be able to do so. Like you said, you're 2 rounds away, and even then, 2 rounds feels a bit misleading. It feels like you win this 1 round, and you've probably got it.
Look, to give the people at home some frame of reference, yes, okay, in the 20th of February, they lost 13-3 on Ancient to BC game, but all of their other losses are a difference of 4 rounds at most. 13-9, 16-12, an overtime loss. There's been a couple of those. And that's teams like Fnatic, like Paravision, like Guns, TNL, strong sides, especially on the map of Ancient. So we do have to say that Nexus, they deserve it of a big victory. At what point is it going to be the close victory for them? You'd hope today.
Util's already been pretty heavily drained on Ruby. 4 pieces all that remains. 3 of them are smoke grenades at least.
Yeah, will be a helping hand, but the problem is, yes, they've got 3 smokes. 2 of them are towards the B-bomb site.
We've seen mid be given up quite a few times from Ruby, but Nexus never really felt like they were being in a spot to capitalize on it. This is a different story.
Nice, they're all pushing through Donut, and I think that makes a big difference. Molly's going to force Easy off the angle. The elevated Sawalio taken down. Great awareness from BTN. It's the same setup that Easy and Sawalio operated when they went for that double A play beforehand. Launux clearing. Spots the shoulder, and the head of Easy will come rolling, and Launx finds another. 22-11. Yes, he was a little slower to start this game, but finishing how Anubis was. And now, this is where Fozil and Katie probably need to look to save. They need these weapons in the next, except that the round is lost. And focus on the next one, because they now have 3 rounds that they need in a row, and the best way to do that is keep the guns alive. BTN hot on the tail. Spots out KD. Heard the reload of Fozil. He knows they're both here. He's got perfect information. Fozil will find, though. Next
chances. They've certainly got a few chances. 3 of the opportunities to close this one out and win this series 2-0. I mean, can we just appreciate that double from Launx there?
Oh, it's insane.
Easy's holding for that peak. Don't get me wrong, he's playing very close to the angle, so despite it being the left and right hand peak, it's not as favored for him as you might think. But, I mean, it's just how quick the headshots are. Really great stuff. The round was always going to be very tough for Ruby. They didn't have a defuse kit. Money wasn't in the greatest of spots, so it did make things a bit challenging at times. But some aggression now from the CT Zello, anticipating this could be the case. The boost comes over at the cost of their lives.
Yeah, this round to me is already written off, but Katie wants to give it a bit of a go, and timing couldn't be better. The reload of Launux, the HG grenade brought out. Molly can land at his feet, but who cares? Hazardator's there to clean things up. What a round from Katie. I like the idea of the boost. It's a great way to deal with it, but the fact that the smoke's towards ramp, someone's got to be watching. Someone has to be holding for that swing.
Just look how easy this is for Katie.
So simple.
And this is the issue now for Nexus. They kind of need to eco. Yeah. So it is a bit like that. You've got Ragger on a hero AK. The rest of the weapons are limited, to say the least. You've got 2 flashbangs on Launx, and let's just say these are going to have to be some of the greatest flashbangs he's ever thrown to be able to win a round like this. It's all going to come down to the final one, and if that's the case, you look at how dominant the last round was from Ruby, it kind of only feels like Nexus have one chance to play this game.
Look at the minimap and look at Ragger.
But it's what can he find from this, though?
I don't think he can fight the whole round. Oh, not with shots like that, he can't. Orb of Easy posted up. Fozil, the problem is Fozil's finding his teammates. He's picking them off so easily. He's got the bomb now. Ragger's got so much work to do, and Easy will find the shot. It's unfortunate in that scenario because he wants to play discipline and backstab, but he realizes, well, if I let him push up towards Shelf, then he's just going to kill my whole team. It's tough. It's a difficult one for Ragger. But it all comes down to this. Final round of regulation. Can Nexus do it? Or will it be another overtime loss? That is
got
the
weapons
question.
in play. You've got AKs. We know how much certain individuals have been stepping up to make this ancient game a possibility. 1 round away, and Nexus from advancing to that finals. It's so much easier said than done.
Massively so, and look at the space that Ruby are taking. Finally, they're a bit proactive here towards A. Sawalio, all he needs to do is keep going. He can push through here and take all of this space. If a kill, or a casualty, sorry, comes through on the side of Ruby here towards B, this is where, however good Sawalio's positioning is, it might go for nothing. And it's going to be this play through red. KD's going to be overwhelmed massively. It's going to be a crunch on the B-bomb side. This is going to go so wrong. Sawalio, he needs to keep progressing. He needs to keep pushing through. Otherwise, his teammates will go down on the B-bomb site. KD gets 1. No trade seen. what the T's doing. Why didn't they just go for the trade there perfectly? And this is now where Sawalio's in an excellent position. Great from Zello. He needs to get that kill. Still Sawalio in the back lines. Hazanator fighting Zello. It will force the T's forward, though. BTN, he's got to go huge. But Sawalio finally strikes. And Raga in the back lines in a 1 versus 2 now.
And just a reposition and delaying now of Sawalio. The bomb can be retrieved, but easy with the backstab with the AWP in hands. The missed shot keeps Raga alive for a little longer. A 1v1 gets taken, but Sawalio does it all.
Yeah, the second Sawalio gets in the back lines there, I've already assumed the round goes the way of Ruby. And the only way it doesn't is this kind of altercation, this fight initially with KD. He takes down Launux. Where's the trade? What's the point of having 3 players in Red Room if you're not going to triple swing on the guy in CT? It seems so unnecessary. I don't see the value in it. It's as though they're kind of just sending, well, Launux, you're going to go first, see what you can find. Oh, you've been taken down. Zello, you're going to go next, see what you can find. Oh, you've been taken down. Raga, your turn. I just don't see the point in it. Because not only does it kind of delay any chances, there's no trade potential. If all 3 of them swing, I think Nexus can converge on the B-bomb site so easily. But I think they throw that round massively.
I mean, I think that's the issue. If how KD's playing it and how players tend to hold middle from B is you play it in a position where you can kind of pretty easily back away. I don't really think there's a world where KD, if he plays it right, does go down there unless we see an insane shot from Nexus. And I think they kind of wanted to be able to show one player, they get the kill, and then surprise the remaining Ruby players on B with how many are actually in the back lines. The issue is it doesn't work out like that. I'm fine when we lose the initial player and then Zello does get that trade eventually, but I want that third player to be with Zello. That's where you can backstab as a 2, because it ended up being Zello goes down and then you send the third person in. If Zello had a teammate there, they get that trade 100%, and then there's 1 player on B amongst 3 players.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think it begs the question. I think the idea was to maybe split up Shelf, but because they got that space in Red Room so effortlessly, why don't they just hit towards A? Sometimes you can see teams just far too drilled in a game plan that sometimes there's got to be a change. But Raga, great find onto Easy, gives them that man advantage here in that first round of overtime.
Yeah, Nexus, they're still alive here. They've still got the opportunity to bring things to overtime, but need to see a different level of them. Raga just jumps out, playing for the trade. It does come through. Honestly, he probably could have had his gun out. Hazanator didn't seem fully aware. Just switched to his weapon, but the trade feels good enough for Nexus here, at least.
Yeah, this is where... Obviously, it's OT. You're going to give it a bit of a look, but... The setup's really good. The smokes are still down. Ruby are going to really struggle. The bomb's already a 3rd ticked. KD, though, will find Zello. And now he progresses through cave. Sound's got to get himself out of this treacherous position. BTN's just sat in the smoke. Sound will get 1. Fozzle without a trade, and allows Sound to reset his aim. KD down to 32 points of health, and BTN can find quite comfortably. Nexus, they will win the round. They will get themselves that 13th, but a little late for that. All-important 16 now.
Yeah, huge work actually dealt there from Sound. We saw BTN was kind of playing as that, oh, I'll be the final contingency just in case. But you see KD find the kill. They pick up the second player on the bomb site as well, but Sound, he goes actively searching for the kills, feeling like he needs to just give that presence for BTN to be able to play as that final player. And he does it really well. I think if we see Sound go down, I honestly think BTN falls as well. We end up seeing that one go the way of Ruby, but Sound does so much work. Opening kill this time for Ruby.
And look, they've taken middle. This is something that we've said that Ruby have very rarely done. And Easy finding Launux. He's already so deep in Temple, he kind of made his way out on the A bomb site. I don't know whether Easy spotted him and that's why he was so prepared. I don't really know what happened. I was far too busy in middle, but a lot of work there up the B ramp as they get 2. And it's down to this 3-on-3. KD's still in an excellent position here. How has Zello been allowed to cross that? Shit can never happen. Nice flick from Zello. Aware that there's still a second here in Sawalio. And BTN's just tucked away deep in cave. I don't think they expect this. Nexus could and probably should find 14 here.
Definitely primed to do so. Any mistakes given up, Easy will capitalize. Great job at baiting out the AWP shot of Zello. But the issue is, if you are an AWPer in this position, you are basically relying so heavily on Swalio to try to find something. Be the player to try to open things up, because there's a lot of angles you need to clear towards B, and you kind of need to take some liberties. But as an AWPer, you don't have as much freedom to do so. And the fact that Swalio feels like he's got no room to breathe, same with Easy. Now going to back away, call it quits, and save.
Yeah, he's keeping the AK in the next, which I quite like. Swalio can just drop over and AWP. Whether it's Swalio, whether it's KD, whoever. I don't really know why it was Swalio. Oh, why it wasn't Swalio, sorry, because KD's now... Or someone is lacking in utility or a defuse kit or head armor. There's limitations here, quite unnecessarily. Last round of the first half of the first overtime, and Nexus, they've looked pretty good. They found 2 so far, and I think 2 on the T side, you're quite happy with. Zello going for an opener. He will be able to find 1, but nice trade from Swalio.
It's going to be a big crunch here onto the B shelf. Down finds the early kill. He actually wants more. Fozil is around here, going to dump out the Molotov sound. Might have to fight forward. Will do so, and Fozil finds them both. In the meantime, Raga gets to kill himself, so a 2-on-2 is where we find ourselves. Fozil, though, what a double alone there towards the B lanes.
Yeah, the problem is Launix has taken this lost space, and I think he's heard Fozil back away. So he's just going to slowly clear out the B bomb site. I like that Ruby have gone for kind of a double up and just play together, shoulder to shoulder, but Launix is so sure that he's heard these steps that he can just take all of this space. This is going to be ridiculous. They're going to have the whole of the B bomb site. They're going to plant reverse. They're both going to play deep. And I'll be honest, I think the CTs are going to be so confused.
I think the 2 Molotovs is also one thing that's a bit daunting.
Yeah, obviously, there is still that smoke on Fozil. But the question is whether he drops it on the bomb, whether he drops it towards the left or right-hand side, or... Someone's got to go towards Cave. And it will be Fozil. The AWP going towards ramp is always a toughie. He has got a flash to send over. Ooh, a Mully in the cubby. Raga. He's got to move. We'll send a Molotov of his own. I really like this. To delay the AWP. Timing not great for Raga. Fozil just slips past the crosshair. Reposition from Raga. And Fozil now realizing Longs gets the trade. It's all on Easy. Oh, the 10-second has begun. Easy spotted. Great maneuverability there from Launix. 24 and 17. He's having a really good game. Nexus has found 3. Charlie... They will have now 6 opportunities, 3 from, obviously, regulation, and now 3 again.
Yeah, this will end up being a game that if we do see Nexus losing, this will be one that's a little bit tougher to excuse in comparison to some of their other tough losses, because this is one that, it feels like they have done enough. Ruby, definitely the dominant team initially for that sort of first 7-8 portion, 7-8 rounds of the game, but since then, Nexus have come alive. They have been the ones who have looked slightly better. Zello and Longs feels like they are sort of a step or half a step above anyone else in the server. I sort of look back to that, what was it, that 2 versus 4 round, Longs and Zello?
Yeah.
Around that, it feels like they never should have won, and somehow they pulled that off. Yeah, I think Nexus have definitely had the chances. This is one, though, that they've got to prove to us why they deserve to get that playoff spot.
Yeah, and now look, with 3 opportunities on the CT side, this is where we should expect things to come to an end here. Look, Ruby, it was an amazing idea with the comeback. I think they've really tried and done everything near possible to make things work, but I think now this is where we say maybe a bit too far gone, but either way, I'm a believer. KD starts things off nicely in this round by getting the kill.
ETN does try to get a kill back, drops the smoke. The T's aren't going to look to get too risky and push through. Zello, he might get a bit more than he bargained for here. Does get the shot off and is able to back away, but it is not a shot that connects.
Problem is BTN stayed hidden, but BTN goes down. That kill should always be coming through. 3 on 5 now. Katie's pushed through the cave smoke as well. Fozil can find Zello. Launix kind of has to find 3 in that scenario. Great round there for Ruby. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it looks really simple. Nothing too fancy. Pretty basic in terms of what Ruby were looking to do, but it didn't even feel like they were the ones that needed to be aggressive. They were given fights, but each time they came out on top, BTN Definitely fluffed his lines there. Had a bit of a 1v1 on the player initially pushing up ramp. Just could not seemingly connect any of the bullets after those sort of initial 3.
Fast play through A here from Ruby. Steps are going to be heard. Molly's going to be thrown and through the Molotov. Braga fully blinded, but so is easy. And the fast play looks good initially. And
Zello!
He's able to get a second. It's a 2 versus 4. This could be it. And Launix is hungry. He's hunting. Through the smoke, he gets another. It's all on Sualio. Too tough of a task. And Nexus, they will be the second team to progress now to the playoffs. Obviously, TNL being the first. An excellent performance from Nexus. They were the better team throughout. I've been very impressed with them. And that's a playoff performance, isn't it? Not only from kind of Nexus in general, but from the likes of Longs, from Zello. It's absolutely brilliant. And look, now they can go to the round of 16 with their heads held high, because it's not as though they snuck their way through on a technicality, or they kind of got there right 2-2, and it's right down to the wire. Went 3-0. Yeah. An incredible performance.
Yeah, I mean, massively deserved that one there. I think Zello at the end showed that, yeah, he really can be an individual that can step up with Longs, and these two should be the two that are looking to spearhead this team. 3 kills from him there. Sort of keeping Raga alive for a little bit longer, but just keep on wanting to look for those picks. Kept on wanting to take the fights, came out on top of every single one, and put Nexus in that spot. And sometimes that's what you need to get things over the line. But when you look at that series on paper, Nexus had a 53% win rate on their map selection coming into it. They had a 25% win rate on Ancient. And this is what I mean about these stats feeling like they're really misleading for this team, because it kind of feels like we want to just scrap everything before when Launch was added. This feels like this is a different Nexus in general. This feels like this is a team that looks really good cohesively. It feels like they're a very well-oiled team. It feels like they know what they want to do. The fundamentals are really key and feel like they are the backbone of this team. They don't need to do anything too fancy when you've got individuals and good trades.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, we've seen 2 teams eliminated and 2 teams progress today. Tomorrow, a lot more when it comes to the elimination, as we've got the lower matches. We've got the teams that are 1 and 2. We've got 3 of those matches tomorrow, kicking things off from midday UK time. I think it's 1 p.m. CEST. You will be joined by the wonderful X-Warrior and Ted for the breakdown of that first series tomorrow morning. And then me and Charlie back on the mic for the evening games once again. And look, I think we've got excitement all throughout the day tomorrow with them being at the elimination games. But that's been it from us tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon for the CCT action.